And welcome back. I'm Miranda Kahn. Let's turn now to our headlines from around the world. A pro-ISIS preacher in Russia is accusing the terror group of nepotism when it comes to choosing who gets to be a suicide bomber. The preacher says there are wait lists to be a martyr, and senior ISIS leaders put their relatives at the top. Meanwhile, the Pentagon is sending military equipment to Iraq to help government forces fight ISIS. Sunni and Kurdish leaders have complained that they're not getting enough weapons to fight the terror group, but U.S. officials insist sending the weapons to Iraq's central government and not directly to the Sunnis and Kurds is the best option. Chinese officials demand the U.S. stop surveillance flyovers or risk an international incident. The warning comes after a U.S. plane flew over the South China Sea, close to where China is building artificial islands. Top U.S. officials say the missions are, quote, entirely appropriate. Nearly 150 migrants are back on dry land after being trapped on board a stranded ship. Italian border police rescued them. Most of the migrants were women and children. In the past month, officials say more than 10,000 migrants have arrived in Italy. 10,000.
That is an amazing story.
It's been a huge issue there in Europe. Well, after 33 years of jokes about the news and pop culture, television legend David Letterman says goodnight to The Late Show.
So we send it off to Dave one last time to kick off this edition of Headlines and Punchlines.
People say to me, Dave, when did you know it was time to retire? And I said, well, there were signs. There's always signs along the way. And I think one of the signs was Todd, the cue card kid, came up to me and he said, for the love of God, Dave, I can't write the words any bigger. Remember that? Okay, all right. All right, fine, all right.
The federal government yesterday released hundreds of documents they seized from Osama bin Laden's compound, and among the many items they found was a job application for Al-Qaeda. For real, it's just like a regular job application, except it asks questions like, where do you see yourself exploding in the next 5 years? I love imagining an actual job interview for Al-Qaeda. I mean, what? I see here on your resume you spent 8 years hating the great devil of the West. Can you tell me more about that? You must be willing to die in the name of Allah and be proficient in Microsoft Excel.
This week, presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, yeah, he introduced a new bill that would make four-year college tuition free. Yeah, which is great news. Unless you were the student who was just walking out of your graduation. You're like, wait, what? Can you believe my luck? What is going on? Bernie Sanders made around $2,000 last year for 2 speeches and a TV appearance compared to the $25 million the Clintons made, making him the first person in history to run for president just because he really needs the money.
President Obama, by the way, has set a Guinness World Record as the fastest person to get 1 million Twitter followers. 1 million. Yeah, so it's official. Obama now has as many followers as the Republicans have presidential candidates. So it's going to work out. They're up to 1 million now. Doesn't it feel like 100,000 Republicans a day announce they're running for president?
Yes.
And it's people I don't even know anymore.
No.
It's like, I'm Jaff Bitney.
The debates are just going to look like a bus station.
I know.
I was surprised to hear this. Hillary Clinton's super PAC, a lot of super PACs in campaigns these days to raise money. Hillary Clinton's super PAC has reportedly been struggling to raise money. It's been struggling to raise money. It's gotten so bad, they may have to start reaching out to Americans. Something new. Something new.
Good stuff there. One thing I thought was very classy this week, during the Letterman finale, Conan O'Brien actually told his viewers to change the channel, send it on over to David Letterman and watch TV history.
That is awesome. I did not know that. That's great.
That's you know, it shows
but he's that kind of guy.
He is that kind of guy, and I think it also, you know, kind of speaks. And if you know any of the history between Jay Leno and David Letterman and the very competitive business that late night comedy shows can be, their camaraderie that there is among the folks who make it to that elite level. It's pretty cool to see.
Well, it's because, you know, they probably know that they're the reasons why they're able to do what it is they're doing, because
Exactly.
they kind of helped pave the way. I mean, for a while there, it was just basically Jay Leno and David Letterman.
Another thing I heard cool about David Letterman, too, is, you know, he wasn't just a comedian who took over a talk show. He was a real broadcaster. He took the medium and turned it into something different. He took it and put his own stamp on it, which is also
Right.
very cool to see.
And we owe a lot to him because of it. You know, I feel bad that I didn't get to watch it as much as a kid because I had to be in bed by
Yes.
a certain time. But when I was in college, I got to check a few things out.
And the great thing
there.
about nowadays is, you know, with the internet, David Letterman's comedy will live on forever.
What did you think of the fact that he didn't cry? Because there were a lot of people that were surprised about that.
You know, I think he has made a career out of being a very public persona on television, but being a very
Right.
private person off the screen. I think that was reflective of his nature. So I think it was true to form for David Letterman.
All right. Well, we'll miss him.
Another hour of Newsmax Now coming up right after this.